Hi there. Greetings, salutations. The last time that we talked to you, Derek Schultz said that I wear the same shirt too often, so he decided to dip into his kindergarten wear and break out his Lobster shirt that he has worn no fewer than 5 times on this program. My name is Jake Query. That is the very odd-grinned Derek Schultz. And this is Query and Schultz on the IC Sports Network. You're blushing.
I have never worn this shirt on this show. I took the tags off this morning. This is a J. Crew clearance.
Okay.
You know,
you've worn that shirt, I guarantee.
Never. You know, up by the Container Store, like between Castleton Mall and the Fashion Mall, there's a J. Crew outlet up there. And it's a final clearance outlet, which is the best kind of outlets for you guys at home. And I got this for $5. And I was like, I go to Maine every 3 years or so I'm just going to buy this shirt and wear it in Maine. But I had forgotten to do laundry. I had 3 beers on Saturday night at SausageFest, so I had a little bit of a headache yesterday and didn't do laundry. So this was like one of the only shirts that I had that was clean in the closet, so I wore this.
The last time that you had no, wait a minute. You weren't feeling well because of SausageFest?
I think so. I'm just old now. I was up until like 1. That's late for me. That's a late night. I'm usually in bed by 10:45.
On what night?
Well, I was at SausageFest both nights, but specifically Saturday. We closed down SausageFest.
Okay. I pulled in from, I don't know if you know, I did a race in St. Louis on Saturday night.
No, I'm
Came
aware
back
of
that night.
What you do, yes.
2-hour rain delay.
Yeah. It was a long day.
Made it back in 3 hours and 18 minutes. Thank you.
Wow.
Door to door. So I got back at like 2:30, and yet I did laundry yesterday.
Yeah. Well, you have a different sleep schedule than I do. You're up routinely until 3 or 4 in the morning.
I get up at 6 every morning.
I know you do, but you require like 2 hours of sleep. You're an insomniac and that whole thing. Like if I don't get 7 hours, my body's just like, gah, really bad, really bad.
Do you get irritable?
Plus, I don't drink. It's like,
does it help out that you wear your pajamas?
Beer is not very much part of my life anymore. My wife doesn't drink. Like.
Right.
Socially, my social life, when you have a kindergarten and stuff, life gets in the way. But I just dedicated some time. I was within walking distance to St. Thomas. It's once a year, so I was like, I'm going to have 2 beers, and it ended up being 3 beers. Oh. And for me, being the size that I am, I know I'm a lot of muscle, but I'm like 150 pounds. So it doesn't take much for me, especially when it's like, what is it, Osiris, the Sun King stuff?
Yeah. Well, I saw, after that, when we were in, I think it was New Orleans, and you'd had 5 Manhattans, and that's when you were ripping off people's do not disturb signs on their hotel room.
That's not true. You tell that story a lot.
Schultz,
that's not. I don't remember any of that.
Exactly.
But I know that that's not what happened. I know that doesn't sound like something that I would do. And it was when in Rome. We were in New Orleans. Right. We were having a good time. It was an off day the next day on the weekend because the games were Saturday night, right? So this was after the Saturday night games. We were off on Sunday. So, yeah. I mean, I was 29 years old when we did that, man. Like, I was still in my 20s at that point. And we had a great night. 2 best friends just hanging out.
Okay. This is the second to last show for me of the shows in the first half century of my life.
Yeah, your birthday's coming up right around the corner. Good reminder.
2 weeks from Saturday.
On here. Yeah. Big 50.
You know it.
Sweet.
The big 50.
And you're going to tie one on, huh? Is that what you're segueing into?
Do you want to know what my birthday plan is?
What?
I was asked, what do you want to do for your birthday? And my response was, I want to, for my birthday, not have to plan a single thing about my birthday.
I think your family is very similar to mine in that, like, when my sisters turned 16, it was like a huge deal, and they threw a Sweet 16 for my sisters, and I ate a cold Subway sandwich and went over to Matt Stolman's house to watch the 1998 King of the Ring on VHS.
Right.
Like, that's what I did for my 16th birthday because my parents were just like, they didn't care. I feel like your family's sort of the same way where, like, something happens for Juge and it's like, oh, my God, is everybody going to be here? We have cake. We have a pony. We have balloons. And, like, whenever anything happens with Jake, it's like, he's the 3rd kid. Whatever. Cool.
No comment.
Congrats, Jake. Here's your card.
It's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Good afternoon to you, good evening, good morning, whatever time it might be that you are watching. That is Derek Schultz, and I'm Jake Query. And aside from Derek having a headache and a nice new Garanimals shirt, and aside from my birthday coming up, reality is Colts are now 2/3 of the way through their preseason in terms of the games being played.
Yep, camp
they
wrapping
are
up.
wrapping up camp, which is so crazy because it used to seem like it was like this 6-week just marathon in terms of players going to camp. But what have we learned, Derek, anything about the Colts?
I think we've learned that this is a pretty good roster, has decent depth. I think really what we've learned is that if a couple of things hit for the Colts, they can be very good this season.
Right, I would agree.
But you still require those couple of things hitting. So I'm intrigued. I wouldn't say that my opinion of the Colts has really changed over the last couple of weeks. My opinion on a couple of individual players have changed a little bit. And there have been some guys that have, and I know we're going to talk about this later on in our conversation, that have impressed me that I think have improved, like Sam Ehlinger. I think is a better player than he was last year, and maybe a guy that deserves a roster spot.
Okay, which leads to this question. And by the way, before we get to Sam Ehlinger, thank you, as always, to Bailey & Wood, title sponsor of this program. So this is Query and Schultz, presented by Bailey & Wood. We will tell you about the fabulous work that they're doing in the community and helping you get a home coming up. And we are inside the Lou Malnati's studio. Derek, when you talk about Sam Ehlinger, you go with Ehlinger or Ehlinger?
I think, didn't he say that it was Ehlinger?
Greg Rakestraw, who is here, that does the
Greg would
preseason
know because he's
television.
the play-by-play guy.
Is it
Ehlinger.
Sam Ehlinger?
Other way.
No, Sam Ehlinger.
Oh, okay. So I was saying it right. Okay,
no, you
good.
said it wrong.
No. I meant
Ehlinger.
I always thought it was Ehlinger, and you were saying Jur, and then I thought Rake said Jur, but Ehlinger.
If you're hungry, you grr, right? Your stomach. So that's he's hungry for a spot. Sam Ehlinger. Okay.
Yeah, that's cute.
So, yeah, thank you. I had asked last week if there was any chance that Sam Ehlinger would end up being the backup quarterback for the Colts and unseat Nick Foles. And look, that was an absurd question. I know it was. But I think what he has done here is the Colts are in an interesting situation, Derek, because Matt Ryan is their quarterback and is going to be theoretically for, let's say, 2 years, maybe 3. So you know that what I'm about to do here is lay out the argument on why Sam Ehlinger should be the quarterback to back up Matt Ryan. If Matt Ryan is a 2 or maybe 3-year quarterback, then that means that the Colts feel like, he's going to take all the snaps. It's like Peyton Manning. If they feel like their roster is good enough to sustain them for a 3 or 4 game absence, then, in fact, Foles probably is the better donut tire to go with. But do they feel that roster is that case? Do they feel like if Matt Ryan's not there, they can, like when Matt Hasselbeck filled in for Andrew Luck very admirably, that they can keep it afloat for a little bit? If that's the case, then I guess you go with Nick Foles. But I think Sam Ehlinger has played his way into looking like he is growing into and making very adequate leaps towards being a really adequate backup quarterback. And you now run the risk of losing him if you put him onto a practice squad and somebody else comes and gets him. The only way really to protect him is to give him an active roster spot. Do you do that by keeping 3 quarterbacks? I don't know. But if Matt Ryan's not able to go for anything more than 3 or 4 weeks anyway, your season's probably a wash. So if you are looking at, I guess what I'm getting at long-winded here is, if you're looking at somebody that's going to be like Nick Foles is not a 3-year backup is what I'm getting at. He's not, right? So why not go with the guy? Why not do what you have to do to protect the guy to keep him on your roster that can be your backup for 3 or 4 years, as opposed to just a stopgap guy in Nick Foles that's not going to take you to the promised land?
Nick Foles is always available every offseason, though. Somebody of that caliber to be your backup level of quarterback. So I think that's why you don't panic about having to keep Ehlinger, because you're worried about.
But what I'm saying is,
who that second quarterback's going to be.
Do they have? Would they keep 3 quarterbacks on the active roster?
I think so.
You think so?
I don't think going into camp, I didn't think they were going to do that, but I think they could roster 3 quarterbacks. You know what plays into this too is that Drew Ogletree going down saves a roster spot.
Yeah,
essentially,
that's a good
they were
point.
going to carry 4 tight ends.
That's a good point.
And that essentially saves. Now that's only 1 roster spot. 53 is still very small. It's hard to roster 3 quarterbacks, but I think Ehlinger is.
But would you agree?
Putting that in that
I think
discussion.
Ehlinger, I'm not doing a very good job of saying what I'm trying to say, which I apologize
You're saying
for, but
should you think about bringing this person along and having him along, knowing that barring injury, he's never going to start for you, right? And he's just going to get better and better and better and be the long-term QB2.
Yes, because they've invested a decent amount of time in this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And they've given him the tools and the coaching and the time and the reps to improve. And he's done it.
He's improved, yeah.
He's absolutely done what they asked him to do. And so I think they have to be happy with what he's done, and he has to be happy with what they've asked of him. But you put all of that into it, and then if he doesn't make the roster, you put him on the practice squad, and even though that is not a normal place for people to come and get a player.
Well, he might get claimed even before that.
Correct.
We don't know.
Correct. Yeah. So, like, if you waive him, you really run the risk of losing him after putting all of that time in. In other words, what use was it for them to say, Sam, here's the checklist of 10 things we'd like you to do? And he went out and he's done all 10 really well and been a solid member of the franchise. So that should be rewarded with, we want you here. And I think they do want him here.
True.
I just think the only way at this point, he has played himself into a unique situation of the only way to keep him probably is to do something that may not be what they want to do, which was to keep him on the active roster.
But what you're mentioning here is just life as an NFL general manager. I mean, Ben Banigou has spent, 4 seasons with this team?
Right.
You might not have Ben Banigou on your 53-man after this camp and when you get to roster cutdowns and all of that. So you can't look at it, I don't think, as, well, we wasted all this time. It's just we have to make tough decisions here.
Right.
And I don't think, while I think that Ehlinger has improved and I'm turned on to the idea of them actually rostering 3 quarterbacks, I'm not losing sleep over them not keeping Sam Ehlinger. I get it. I think we went through this sort of with Chad Kelly a couple of years ago. We were like, well, you got to keep Chad Kelly. And then we kind of stopped talking about Chad Kelly I think he ended up back on the practice squad, if I'm not mistaken. And he ended up clearing waivers. But I think Foles is the backup because he has the proven track record. And in a pinch, in a 1-game or a 2-game situation, I think you feel a lot better with him than Ehlinger. Because as good as Ehlinger has been, Jake, I mean, he's doing this against 3s. You can only play the defense that's being put in front of you. He's doing this against 3s, 4s, and guys that aren't going to be on an NFL roster in 2 weeks.
I've made a living on this program, Derek, over the years of coming up with brilliant analogies, 99.9% of which you roll your eyes at.
Yeah, that's debatable. Brilliant.
The only analogy that I ever recall coming up with where you, Derek Schultz, said after the fact, that was pretty good, was my donut tire analogy, right?
Yeah, where you can get you a game or two.
A backup quarterback
miles.
is the donut tire on your car.
Yeah.
It can get you the next exit or two, but if you try to use it to get to your final destination that you were intending, you're in trouble.
Yeah,
right?
It's going to blow.
It's exactly what it is. So Nick Foles gets you 3 exits, right? Sam Ehlinger probably gets you 1.
I just think Ehlinger has some limitations that are just never going to change, and that's going to prevent him from ever being a starter. Like, say what you want about Nick Foles. Nick Foles, during points of his career, has been an NFL starting caliber quarterback.
In big games.
And Sam Ehlinger, what is he, 6'1", 6 foot? I mean, he's small. I think his arm has gotten kind of better.
Do you think he buys extra small shirts at the J. Crew clearance outlet?
This is a medium. Yeah.
Okay.
Right here. It is. You can see the tag if you want.
What I
like about it is that it hugs the arms, so then the arms look nice and tight, and it lets a little loose off the belly portion.
Oh, after your 3 beers?
So if you had a couple of Osiris's over the weekend, that's not going to show.
Okay.
That's what I like about it. Yeah. I think it's just it's kind of a fun, flirty shirt. Like I like this. It's a good addition to my wardrobe. It's not for all occasions. Like I wouldn't wear this to a wake, but like a barbecue or something like that, then sure, I'll wear the Lobster shirt.
You wouldn't wear it to a wake?
No. It has a collar, but I don't think it would really be appropriate for like a wake or a funeral.
I've always felt this with wakes. Wake and calling, the same thing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
The wake or calling oftentimes happens when you're on your way home from work or kind of like what
like
you're
6 to 8 p.m., right?
Yeah, or like what you're out doing. So I've always felt like the wake is less like demanding on what one wears to go to
I
it.
agree. Yeah.
Because it's like, hey, I was running around. I didn't have a lot of
your
time, but I wanted.
Your presence is what matters, not really your appearance. It's just the fact that you made yourself available to attend and pay your respects.
I have always felt like, and you tell me if this is correct, the wake is more if you were friends with the family, but not necessarily the deceased, and the funeral is if you were friends with the deceased.
Yeah, the funeral I won't
Obviously, if
attend.
you're friends with the funeral, you do both.
Unless I'm like invited or there is some sort of a expectation that I'm going to be there.
Correct. Okay.
Funeral is a different standard than I've gone to wakes where people have been surprised that I'm there. Like, oh, Derek, cool. Like, thank you. Like,
I thought you meant because like you're some big wig.
No, I think it's important to. I think people remember when you show up at their dad's wake. Like,
I'd agree with
just
that.
to be there for them. Like, I'm not doing it for myself. I'm just saying, like, I want to show them that, hey, I cared enough to do this. Like, because I want people to come. You know,
Now,
hopefully it doesn't happen for many years, but for my dad's
so,
wake.
So 2 years ago when I had my heart attack, if Mottman had not been able to get the balloon through, would you have done for me wake and funeral, neither or both?
Well, I had a barbecue that night, so I was already committed to that.
Of the
Yeah. So I was committed that evening and then into the night. It was a pool party too, so kind of a double whammy. So you're asking me to make kind of an impossible choice there. But if it was like a Sunday wake, like the next morning, I would have popped probably a couple of aspirin and come over for sure.
So you would have wanted my family to check with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, your dad already told me that I was slated to do the eulogy. Had it come, I know that's kind of a dark way to put it, but you have to have kind of all your ducks in a row. And Mr. Query's a planner, and he told me that, Derek, you would have given the eulogy, and I told him I know. I mean, I know that was the expectation, so I would have been prepared for that had it come to that.
That was the extra oomph that pushed me through. Just so you know,
to know that I didn't have to eulogize you, it would have been amazing. It would have been. I had a really. It was going to build to an emotional crescendo. And
then you were going to pull the rug out from everybody?
I still have it in my Microsoft Word documents, saved documents.
Yeah, sure, send me that.
When Jake dies.
Yeah, okay.
I think is one it's
save it in drafts?
Yeah,
that's nice.
Open for when that happens.
Other roster moves. I mean, the quarterback situation's interesting, but, Derek, this hasn't been – we have had camps before or preseasons before for the Colts where somebody really jumps off the page and you go, whoa, like I did not expect this guy. He has cemented his spot. I don't know that that's necessarily – Ogletree was one of them.
Yeah, he was.
And then he got hurt.
Yeah.
But, I don't know that there's anybody else that truly jumps out, right? The one guy whose name I can't pronounce.
The wide receivers have been sort of interesting in the back. Are they going to keep 5 or 6? If they keep 6, it's less interesting because then Patman and Strong would make the roster. But if they only keep 5, that's one spot for Patman or Strong because you've got Doolin, Campbell, Pierce, Pittman. So those 4 in descending order are locked in.
Right.
But there's a 5th spot available, and both Strawn and Patman played well in that preseason game. And Strawn, especially when you consider how far behind the 8 ball he is, he didn't have much of a camp with the injury and all of that.
What is the defensive lineman's name? Not Dio.
The other Adengbo?
Yes.
But not Adengbo.
Afidi.
Yeah, it's like a
Afidi is
take
what
on
we're going to call him, right?
Sure.
I think he's kind of played his way into a permanent spot because he can play. I mean, he might have been anyway, but he's a little more versatile. You can move him around a little bit. Listen, you want to be, it's kind of like how you ended up, we got partnered together. A lot of that was because you could do a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm. Versatile.
You weren't like necessarily really good at any one thing, but you were adequate at like 3 or 4 different things. You could run the board. You could answer calls. You were decent at the mail. You laid out show scripts, and then you could talk on the microphone when you needed to. So, like, you could do a lot of different things, which gave you value.
Sure.
And that's what you want to be if you're trying out for an NFL team.
I mean, now I'm mostly 10s on 1 to 10 scale in a lot of those categories. But you're right. I mean, 12 years ago, it was a little bit different for me then. Tony Brown, CB5? Maybe?
I mean,
the guy. I mean,
their
we're talking about the
backfield, Derek. They've got some depth.
We're talking about the 5th cornerback.
Right.
I like depth-wise what they have at safety.
The only takeaway.
Corner less so because once you get beyond Gilmore, Faison, Moore, and that group, maybe it's Brown. I mean, I don't know how the rest of that is going to be, but it'll be really interesting. All of this plays into Ehlinger and that decision.
Don't sleep on my guy Dallas Flowers.
Well, I think
scored well in preseason.
Sterling
Game 1.
Weatherford, I think, has earned a spot just from how he's played so far in the preseason.
Sterling Weatherford.
Yeah,
yes. I had him for my lit class.
But then you realize he's from Cicero, and it's like the least snooty place ever. It's freaking Cicero, right? But it'll be, I mean, Ehlinger plays into all of this because these are
Right.
roster spots that
You know what it is, Derek?
guys are fighting for. It's the very back of the roster.
Sam Ehlinger. Ehlinger.
Ehlinger. You got it right the first time. Or the second time.
Sam Ehlinger. Sam.
Isn't that hard?
Sam, it's a mental hurdle, like
Yeah.
algebra, which I'm getting ready to take, and I'm very worried about it.
Oh, boy.
Sam is an NCAA tournament bid stealer.
Okay.
He might be in the what's a one bid league?
Colonial.
In the Colonial League, Colgate has been dominant all year. They're 28-1, so they're probably going to get in because they beat 2 ranked teams in the Great Alaska Shootout at the beginning of the year. They got 2 quality wins. And then in the finals of the Colonial League, who's another team in the Colonial?
George Mason, I think.
George Mason
They might have moved
upsets
somewhere.
Colgate.
Yeah.
So now George Mason steals a bid and they're in because Colgate's going to get it anyway. That's kind of Sam Ehlinger, right?
Yeah.
Ehlinger.
Yeah, there you go.
Here's Sam Ehlinger. At the last minute, he comes in and he might be stealing a bid from somebody and taking a roster spot.
I think Colgate is American East.
No, they're
I
Patriot.
think they're with Vermont and all
Patriot.
that, aren't they?
You're
Are you sure?
You're the one that said, what about Fairleigh Dickinson?
I never know where. I don't even know where that is. That PA? Fairleigh Dickinson? I don't even know where that is.
No, it's in Connecticut.
No. Fairleigh Dickinson isn't in Connecticut.
Is it in Virginia?
Maybe.
Where's Fairfield?
Fairfield is in the MAC in Fairfield, Connecticut.
It's just the MAC.
Well, it's the extra A. So it's different. Like Ball State's in the MAC. Toledo's in the MAC. Fairfield's in the MAC. American East Conference.
Why do you sound like...
Oh, wait, you're right. Colgate left in 1990 to join the Patriot League.
Who else is in
University of Maine, UNH, UVM are all American East.
Okay.
Sorry, I thought Colgate was in there too. Albany.
So what's is it Fairleigh Dickinson or Farley Dickinson?
Who knows, man?
Is it Ehlinger or Ehlinger?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. Fairleigh Dickinson University is
It's in New Jersey.
Okay. Oh, he's got the graphics up. Okay, great. Fairleigh Dickinson's in New Jersey. There it is.
Oh, there we go.
Perfect. Thank you, Greg.
It is Fairleigh though, right?
Who knows? Time for our Lou Malnati's Pizzeria.
It's okay.
Who's cooking this week? We got the tomatoes right here.
They're fairly happy to be here with us.
Look at that. Throw some knuckle curves with this bad boy.
I can hit that camera right
Order.LouMalnati's.com.
Now, did we say
Delicious.
that which one of these cameras is the one that you allowed me to hit?
No, we're not hitting any of the cameras. They're very expensive.
Okay.
Or it comes out of your check and not mine if you hit any of the cameras. 4 Indy area locations, soon to be a 5th in Avon, but Greenwood, West 86th Street, Carmel, as well as our favorite in Broad Ripple with Dine-In. Beautiful patio. It's going to be patio weather for at least like 6 to 8 more weeks.
Easily. Yeah.
Well into October, so probably about another 2 months for you to grab a couple of deep dish pies with your buds. Watch
Tomatoes
the Colts.
this big, literally.
Go watch the Colts at Eludes as well. Don't want to forget about that or any of the college
Wings?
football.
Have you had the wings yet?
On Saturday? I need to do that. You and I have to do a lunch date.
Okay.
You got to pick a date here coming up in a couple of weeks. We'll send pictures and the whole deal.
You're gonna wear your cute
We'll send it to
little
the
shirt?
Jennifers. Everybody will go crazy for that. Us having a lunch. People really freak out whenever we do anything in public. Like it's
You know why? Because we never do.
Well, we walked up 38th Street the other day and people were freaking out, but I don't know if that was because
Derek, we were
it was
going to
us in
work at the
public.
dairy bar at the American Dairy Association, and you were wearing a cow print apron while we walked on 38th Street.
Yeah, just
And you
two
couldn't-
guys wearing some cow print aprons, walking up 38th Street, no big deal.
And you couldn't figure out why people were honking.
Well, people honk a lot when I'm out, like on my bike or whatever else.
Is
I'm
it when
walking
you're
my
wearing
kid.
your Garanimals
Yeah,
lobster
they
shirt?
like the shirt. It's a good looking shirt. People honk and
Okay.
wave a lot. This week, Desmond Patman is my who's cooking Lou Malnati's because he had a great game, 50-yard tud, pretty impressive for Patman. Went over a hundo as far as the receiving yards are concerned, and potentially your 5th or 6th guy.
You
on
know,
that
the thing
receiver
is,
chart.
Desmond Patman, you have to look at, he has shown that he can do it in a regular season game.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a huge catch for them last year in the Arizona
yeah,
game.
he has 2 catches, and one of them was a game sealer.
Right. So, I mean, he is certainly a guy that is making a push
Yeah.
towards cementing
I mean,
what
we're
we kind of do about him.
talking WR5, WR6 here. So,
That's 5th or
yeah,
6th
I don't know if a lot of
string
people
wide
know.
receiver.
You know, people aren't staying up at night wondering, who's the WR6 on this team?
Nobody
if they
thinks
keep
that
6.
anyway because no one uses that
If they
term.
keep 6. But I think he could potentially be your WR5 because
Fifth
WR1,
string wide
WR2,
receiver.
WR3, WR4, like we mentioned, are all spoken for.
Okay. So what you're saying is, can you imagine if there was a position that was WD?
Well,
and they
I
had
think
40 of them. Oh, the WD-40
I think
on this
Des
team.
Patman could potentially be somewhere down the line like a WR3 caliber player. Like, I don't think he'll ever be like a WR1. Like, Pittman hopefully is going to ascend it. Some people believe that Pittman's already WR1. I think he's close. I still need to see it this year.
You know what you say?
But Patman, I think, could be WR3.
You know what you say? A lot of people think Pittman might be their number one receiver.
But that's what this time of year is about. Like Tony Brown, CB5. Like, that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about that during the season, but you want to know.
No, is he going to be their last corner?
Like, who's LG3? Like, the interior offensive line depth is a big question mark for the team. I don't know who the LG3 is going to be.
That's RG3. He was with the Browns.
No, that's a quarterback. I'm talking about the left guard, the third left guard. This is like a common lexicon thing now. And you have to get on. You have a daily morning radio show, which is astonishing to me. But anyway, you have
part of that is astonishing.
And you really should take advantage of what I'm teaching you and take it with your show. Because if you want to sound smart, like when I'm listening to your show, Kevin sounds smart. If, we weren't friends or anything like that, and I was just kind of off the street, I'd be like, does this guy, like, I know he likes Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
That's a great movie.
But does he really know, like, what's going on now?
Jefferson. So what position was Jefferson then? I mean, he had like 13 tackles, 33-0. They beat Lincoln.
Was that the kid that had the glasses or whatever and had the concussion?
What
was his name? Luca or something from the movies? He was small. He made
Lucas?
The football team. Is that what you're talking about?
No. Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Jefferson was Forrest Whitaker. He was like you. He had the lazy eye.
And he skipped school or whatever and went to Chicago, went to a Cubs game. They made so many of those movies. Like, they're all the same. Like, I can't even figure out what's what.
Clearly.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I was born in 83, so a lot of these movies came around when I was like an infant, if I was even born yet. So I know it was just a bunch of like high school crap. Like, there's one where they're all in detention.
Yeah.
And the guy from Mighty Ducks is like an athlete or something. And, I know of these movies. I know like the general plot lines, but I can't pick them apart.
Breakfast Club.
Okay, sure. Yeah, Breakfast Club.
Molly Ringwald was in that. Mm-hmm. You're talking about
Molly Ringwald was in a lot of those movies. She was in Revenge of the Nerds, I think.
No.
It was her birthday. The guy pulls up in the red Corvette.
That's 16 Candles. Correct. That's 16 Candles.
I thought that was Revenge of the Nerds, though. She was a bookworm.
No.
Okay, well, whatever. Fine. Let's move on to the next thing. We got plenty more to get to here on episode 99 of Query and Schultz. Big Ten inks a new media deal, what that means for the league.
So episode 100 will be my last one before I turn 50. Isn't that fun?
Yeah. You're still talking about movies from 40 years ago.
At least I can name them.
And we'll talk about what it means for college sports as well. Plenty of features to get to, and we've got some fresh hoagies to eat as well. It's
like
Query
that.
and Schultz. Episode 99 continues here on ISC.
Hey, I'm Jeff Saturday, and my favorite thing when I was a professional football player was Indiana. The Hoosier State always made me feel like family. That's why I trust Indiana's hometown mortgage lender, Bailey & Wood. This family-owned company not only gives back to the communities they serve, but also with their 5-star customer service, they can close on your dream home in days, not weeks. So remember, Indiana, you can always get your mortgages at a snap with Bailey & Wood.
Hey, Jeff, how does this look? Yay!
Not bad, bud, but let's stick to mortgages.
College wasn't built for me.
It didn't care if I had to work a double shift.
Or if my kid had a fever.
Deadline's a deadline.
I want to set the deadlines.
I want to take tests when I'm ready.
I want to take courses on my time.
And speed up when I know my stuff.
I want a university that cares about me.
Tests on your time, courses on your time, graduate on your time. WGU, the nonprofit university of you.
Hi, welcome back to Query and Schultz alongside Jake Query. I'm Derek Schultz. Thanks for joining us. Somebody's on a bathroom break right now, so that's why that's just an empty chair. Thanks to our friends at Bailey & Wood Financial Group. Again, 855-350-HOME, BAWFG.com. I saw they just broke ground on a expansive renovation for their original location down in Whiteland. So really happy for Mike and the rest of his crew, a native Southsider, for expanding there at Bailey and Wood. I think they're going to have a training facility, 17,000 additional square feet down there in Whiteland for the Bailey and Wood headquarters. So
they had 17,000 golfers at the
it was a big deal, and raised a lot of great money, and they've been great partners of ours for many years on the show. Switching from the Colts over into, and again, we do this a lot on the show. I fully realize that the Big Ten media deal happened, Thursday last week?
Right.
So sometimes when we don't get the chance to talk to you outside of once a week on Mondays, I feel like we're behind a little bit, right? So I understand that we're talking about 96 hours later here, but the ink has already dried on the Big Ten's media deal. It was what all of us expected, right? $1 billion a year, essentially, and potentially $100 million per school. It's going to look more like 80 million or so, at least initially. But some things changing. No ESPN, which will be very strange.
Yeah.
Because they've been associated with the Big Ten my entire life, essentially, since the very early 80s. But I am intrigued by how this is going to work out with the noon game, Fox, the mid-afternoon slot, CBS, which used to be the SEC slot, of course, and then the primetime game, also bumping with Notre Dame, and how that whole marriage is going to work and how those three networks are going to treat it. Because, if I'm Fox, I'm the noon slot, and I'm thinking, and the other two networks are probably thinking, well, we should have better games than the noon slot. But then I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. We've been with you the whole time,
right,
and Big Ten Network and all that. So
Derek, I think one of the things to me that
we'll see.
Listen, the Big Ten has been ahead. When it comes to media, the Big Ten's been ahead of everybody from the get-go. When it comes to, by the way, I don't know if I've probably told you this 20 times, but when I was in high school, my radio television class, Chris Love Heating and Air, love-hvac.com, Chris Love and I and Adam Alexander, we had to do a project for our radio TV class in high school. We had to come up with a proposal of a business proposal for radio TV, and we were like, we should do a radio network of all the Big Ten places on the radio and talk about and cover football and basketball. And I remember my teacher saying, well, what would you do the rest of the year? Like, I don't know, maybe just play old games. And he's like, you think that would work?
Yeah.
Never acted upon it. But anyway, the Big Ten was ahead of the other conferences with the Big Ten Network.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it came to this carousel of adding teams and getting, they've been ahead of the game from every step of the way.
They've always had TV in mind before everything else.
Totally.
Yeah.
And this move of UCLA and USC, they went to USC first and said, we want you because we want your football program. We don't care about basketball. We want your football program. And USC said, okay, and they said, well, find one other partner school to come with you for scheduling and, travel partner, et cetera. And USC recommended UCLA, and the Big Ten said, okay, we can do that because they're LA market. But Oregon was discussed because of football, because they wanted football over. They weren't worried about UCLA basketball at all.
Basketball doesn't matter in this discussion.
Correct.
Yeah.
They wanted the football, and they were like, UCLA has to get their football going. But they brought this in because of what it was going to do to bolster the TV contract. And here it is. Now, the only drawback I can see with this, and it's hard to find a drawback from something that's going to bring every school nearly $70 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's a drawback that I could see, it would be this, and that is we as a society like things to be as low maintenance and as least confusing as possible. And when you now have, and I'll be the old guy here, when I was a kid, the Big Ten was, every Indiana game was on Channel 4.
Yeah.
Every Purdue game was on Channel 4. And they played on Thursday and Saturday.
Yeah.
And I knew Indiana's on, turn on Channel 4.
Yep.
Purdue's on, turn on Channel 4. The one thing that's going to be a challenge here, Derek, is how long it's going to take before people get fatigued by the fact of, hey, so are you a big Big Ten fan? I used to be, but I can never figure out what they're on.
Yeah.
I like Minnesota a lot, but they were on Fox last week, and they're
bad
on.
For my dad, because my dad, starting in 2023, will never be able to watch Big Ten sports again because he's not going to know what channel it's on.
Right.
And he's going to be texting me all the time. Like, some game's going to be on Peacock. streaming for basketball. So yeah, it's going to be
I mean,
kind
it's
of
great
spread
to,
in all over
to
the place.
spread around where you're going, because if everybody's giving you money for it.
Oh, I totally get the Big Ten's motivation for that.
I
but
do
it
too,
will
but that's
be,
the one potential drawback here.
It will be confusing. I do wonder, and I think Bryant Gumbel had talked to Kevin Warren about this. Now that it's billion with a B. Remember, like 10 years ago, we thought the TV bubble maybe was going to burst with streaming and all of that, and obviously that's not the case at all. He had asked him about pay for play. I'm starting to wonder if that's an inevitability now. We're going to see the money that's generated from NIL, but it's never going to be enough, right? Where suddenly, even if I'm making money from a car dealership and a charity and a T-shirt shop, if I'm, QB1 at, I don't know, Wisconsin or something like that, or USC, I'm thinking to myself, yeah, this is nice. I mean, I'm making a couple hundo, maybe in some cases making a couple thousand a month. But still, they're getting $80 million, the school, and I'm the star of the team that's the driver for that $80 million. You can understand why. I mean, if the money's just going to keep going like this, eventually the players are going to.
I wonder
this
about the streaming stuff. It seems to me like, who did I just see now was trying to come up with like a streaming deal? Oh, the Pacers with the Bally Sports for $20 a month streaming.
$20 a month is absolutely ridiculous, by the way.
And they're late to the game because at this point people are starting to cut back their stream. You know what I mean? Like at first, streaming was like the wild, wild west. It was like, this is the best.
Yeah.
I got these shows on Amazon Prime I'm watching, and Apple TV's got awesome shows, and Netflix has great shows, and Hulu. And now I think people are like, wait a minute. Like I haven't used that in a while. I'm curious how many people, though, that being said, how many people still have streaming services that it's like a gym membership?
They don't even know that there's so many people that are paying for stuff that have no idea that it's coming out of their account every single month.
Correct.
But I think, and not to get too off track here, I think the problem with Bally Sports is that the standard's been kind of set like $10-ish a month is kind of what you can charge. Peacock's $5, at least for the non-premium Peacock. They're really overreaching with $20 a month.
Oh.
$20 a month, that's even more money than what I pay for Amazon. And I use Amazon Prime a million times more than I'm ever going to watch Pacers games.
Right.
And I think they're really overreaching. And this is not good timing for the Pacers to be paying $20 a month.
Let me ask you this about Amazon Prime, if this has happened to you before. I found this odd.
Talking to the mic there.
I found this odd. This happened
Matthew
to me.
from Maine's going to point that out.
I ordered something on Amazon yesterday. I don't order from Amazon very often, to be honest with you. But I ordered something yesterday, and because I'm a Prime member, it said, do you want this like overnighted or whatever? I'm like, sure.
Sometimes it's free to overnight it. Yeah.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I woke up this morning, and I had a missed call and a voicemail from 4:17 in the morning from the Amazon delivery guy outside trying to figure out how to get into.
Yeah. Well,
but here's the thing. Do you think it's odd that they would call me at 4:15 in the morning?
The problem, they assumed you needed it right away if you overnighted it, right?
But like,
they want to get you the product that you ordered.
Should I play for you the voicemail of the guy?
Well, it's just
asking.
The problem is Amazon will be hard where you live because there's a fence, there's a gate, there's a 24/7 sniper up there.
That's true.
I mean
that's all true.
Very, like batten down the hatches. As far as your
listen, I get it, and I can appreciate
complex.
the thorough nature of it, but it surprised me. I wasn't offended by it by any
He's
stretch.
committed to doing his job,
and I get that, and I can appreciate that. But it surprised me. I'm like, at 4 in the morning, wouldn't he just naturally assume that like someone's not going to be there to let you in?
What do you want him to do? Throw it over the gate and hope it hits your car in the parking lot or something?
No, I get. I get it. But calling me to try to get me to come out, it seemed odd.
I guess I don't know what you want him to do. You overnighted something with Amazon. It's supposed to come overnight.
That's not correct. I'll show you the slip. It was supposed to be delivered today.
Yeah. Well, 4 a.m. is today.
Okay.
I'm just saying. Right? Am I wrong? 4 a.m. is today.
See if you can hear this here.
I just think you're asking for a little too much here. Like being perturbed
this is 4:17 in the morning. I don't think it's going to do it.
Does anybody else have problems with voicemail? Like I have to hit play like 7 times to get it to play. It's really annoying.
Amazon Flex driver. The dog code you gave to me does not open the door, so I gotta leave your package and the main door.
Oh, the door code didn't work.
Thank you.
So did he leave it at the front, at the
entryway? I guess that's
Yeah.
what he's saying.
He said the front, I heard him. He said the front door code, for those who didn't hear, the front door code didn't work, so I'm leaving it at the, I think he said at the front.
This Amazon Flex driver.
Yeah, Amazon Flex driver, Manny.
The code you gave to me does not open the door.
The code doesn't work.
I
You gave him the
gotta
wrong
leave your
code.
package and the
Gotcha.
main door.
Someone to leave the package at the main door. Thanks.
Okay, that's
He's
cool.
a great guy. He's a great worker.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I mean, he's doing
I met
his
a lot
job.
of those Flex drivers from working there.
What does flex driver mean?
A lot of times the Flex drivers are just like you or me that just decide, hey, I'm gonna
Pick up
bring
some
my
hours or
Camry over there and deliver packages for $25 an hour or whatever it is.
Well, I noticed he's from Seattle
Yeah.
because I was like, who
They're
called
from
me
all over.
Seattle?
I'd see like Connecticut plates, and I'd talk to the Flex drivers. Hey, where are you from? Oh, I'm from Stanford. I'm like, what are you doing in Indianapolis delivering Amazon?
Okay.
Yeah. Cars
Well,
from
that's-
all over the place.
That's a long way. It took him, considering he came all the way from Seattle. That's impressive. He got here that fast.
Yeah, can't believe you called me at 4 a.m. My God. Time for Bite or Bull Bleep, brought to you by our
Seemed
friends
odd.
at Chateau Kitchens, chateaukitchens.com, at Chateau Kitchens on Instagram and Facebook. They're going to do our basement. We still have to kind of pick and choose what all we're going to do, but they gave us this awesome kind of piece-by-piece game plan of like a laundry room, and we're going to finish that space. But
Toilet's gone,
we still
right?
haven't finalized. Toilet's gone. We're not going to do the bathroom downstairs.
What about the figurines?
Those are going to be prominently displayed in the living area.
The starting lineup
Like some
figurines
built-in
that have
shelves.
been booted
Yeah.
to the basement.
Ashley calls them my dolls, but my Patrick Ewing starting lineup,
Are you going to buy a pair of the Patrick
Collection.
Ewing shoes?
I already have one.
No, you don't.
I do. I have a pair of Ewings.
No, you don't.
They're orange and blue.
I don't believe you.
I have them.
You'll wear them on the next show.
No, I only wear them for special occasions. I don't want to get them dirty.
Show 100 is not a special occasion?
Not as special. Not special enough to take out the pats.
Zubilation?
Like we were talking about this earlier, not to be morbid, but if you croaked and then it was just me, I'd probably wear my pats on that first show. That it was a solo show. Just instead of Query and Schultz, just Schultz and Schultz.
What about when you eulogized me?
That wouldn't be appropriate to wear sneakers. Then again, the sneaker and suit thing, I get it's been popular for a while there. I always feel like such an idiot when I'm
It
wearing
looks stupid.
sneakers.
Do you remember when we were at the Final Four and Doug
Suits.
Gottlieb came walking through and he had on a suit with like a pair of
But to be
neon
fair to
green
Doug
high
Gottlieb,
tops
and I don't even know why I'm defending Doug Gottlieb, but everyone had that. Remember? I mean, every person except for us had that.
It was a little odd.
Whatever. Here's what we do with Buy or Bull Bleep. I give a statement, Jake and I go back and forth whether we buy it or it's Bull Bleep. You ready for
Okay,
statement
I'm
one?
ready.
The Colts need to win something tangible this season for Frank Reich and Chris Ballard to be kept. Buy it or Bull Bleep?
I will say that I buy that in the case of Frank Reich. I don't know about Chris Ballard. I think Chris Ballard's on pretty solid ground.
Why?
I
don't disagree with your standing. I don't know
No, I know
why
what you're
that's
asking.
the case.
Chris Ballard to me is the executive level of Andrew Luck. When Andrew Luck was a player, everybody's like, he's this guy, he is it. And I would say, no, that's fair. What makes him so great? He just has it. What is the it that he has? Great. but can you put into words for me just intangibles? And with Chris Ballard, it's he's just really good. He's top 5 GM. Okay, that's cool. What makes him a top 5 GM? Good.
No.
But in what way? Well, top 5.
We're still just, and it's amazing that we're doing this in year 5 and year 6. We're still kind of projecting with both of them because we don't really have results to point to. Like the Colts have been good. I mean, I guess the results I would point to with Reich is that this has been a top 10 level offense with 5 different quarterbacks. And some of those 5 have been extremely limited.
That's fair.
And he's still been able to get those results. But, wins and losses wise, I don't think you'd point to that. Yeah, I think they have to. I think if you're taking Irsay's comments from camp, winning the division is something tangible that you can point to. Okay, we won the division for the first time since 2014. Winning a playoff game, that's something tangible. Like, I don't think I'm asking the world here, Jake, to be like, I think the Colts, bare minimum, should do one of those things, if not both. Win a playoff game or win the division, just to show that they're actually going somewhere.
Let me ask you something. You say you're not asking the world. If you were given a planet, is the world what you would pick first?
Like, would I pick Earth over Venus? Is that what you're saying?
Is there another planet you think would be cooler to own?
No,
Earth?
Earth would be the coolest because you could go anywhere on Earth. Like,
Yeah,
you
but
can't
what if
go
you-
everywhere on Venus.
How do you know?
I don't know if you can go there at all, right?
Why not?
Or is that there's no, like,
if you
water?
own it, you can.
Or I think there's, like, planetary water, but not like
Venus is a gas.
not like Poland Spring.
No, Venus is
Okay.
a gas planet.
Okay.
Mars?
So you can't breathe.
Pluto?
Yeah. Pluto's not a planet anymore.
I think it's back
It's a
to
star,
planet.
right?
No, I think it's back to planet
Yeah.
status.
No, I
It-
don't think you're right.
No, it didn't pay its dues like a couple years ago, and then they got caught up, and it's back to being.
Oh, so it's kind of like Rivi, who just adds tax on charges whenever they want. Yeah, it's going to be $50 extra a month. You already signed the contract, but deal with it.
Wow.
I'm not a Rivi member.
How'd you know about that then?
Facebook Moms Group. They are really, really upset.
Okay, couple
Yeah.
of questions here. First off,
Statement 2.
Why are you in a Facebook moms group?
I buy and sell on there.
You
I
buy and sell moms?
No, like
What are you
like
doing?
products. Like,
what are you, Epstein?
Kids' toys, when he was a baby, diapers, things like that. It's like a trade marketplace. It's like a marketplace on Facebook. Yeah. But they also not only buy and sell stuff, but they talk about local neighborhood issues and things like that also on in the group.
Okay.
Ready for statement 2?
Like the short bearded man in a kitty shirt walking around up and down Meridian Kessler.
Do you want to do this or not? Because we can stop the show if you need time to regroup. We can stop the show.
Okay.
Statement 2.
There's a
Vider
guy in
Mobley.
a pair of Pat Ewings and a miniature Lobster
We will
shirt
have
walking around.
pay for play in major college revenue sports by 2030. That's the end of the current media deal.
I would say I buy that because I never would have guessed NIL stuff, and here we are.
Right? I mean, 7 years in the grand scheme of things, 7-8 years is forever. Think about how much just the college – think about what's happened to the Pac-12 in the last 7 or 8 years. I mean, 7 or 8 years ago, you still thought, oh, the Pac-12 still one of the real heavyweights, and it's gone straight down, essentially. Yeah, I do. And by major revenue sports, I mean men's basketball, football, essentially. I know some women's basketball programs make money, but the large portion of them do not. I mean, some football programs don't make money, but major revenue is like Ohio State, Texas, Notre Dame, programs like that. Statement 3, and I don't know if you saw this going around over the weekend. It was our buddy Blake on Twitter tweeted that the Lions took out $4K worth of takeout.
I saw that.
And only tipped $30. Now, look, it's just a tweet. I take Blake's word for it because I know him, but it hasn't necessarily been validated. You need to tip for takeout orders. Buy it or bowl bleep.
Well, that's a really tough one. During the pandemic when restaurants were reliant on it, yes, absolutely. But now that we're back to, you're just picking up and they have people in the restaurant and, business back to normal. I think it's weird, like, when you go to get, like, Dairy Queen, and it has the thing, like, would you like to tip? And I'm like, okay. I've even, like, at the gas station, it's like, do you want to tip?
You're
And I'm
talking
like,
about, but I mean, like, you call in an order to a Thai place.
Yeah, I think you get, here's
Outback
the thing.
Steakhouse.
Does it need to be 20%? Probably not, but I think $5 is nice.
Like,
Well,
it depends on what the order is to me. Like,
Yeah,
$5
of
on
course.
500 doesn't work.
I will say, if it was a $4,000 tab,
$30 is less than 1%.
If the Lions called ahead and ordered a $4,000 bill, I'll be honest with you, I'm assuming that the Lions assumed the gratuity was built in.
Well, they need to check that to make absolutely sure, because a lot of these places don't do that. The higher end places do, but if you got it at like TGI Fridays or something,
I would like to think that whoever from the Lions, the George Costanza of the Lions, the assistant to the traveling secretary, went to pick up the food and assumed that was all taken care of, and then somebody from the restaurant brought out, a cart with all the bags on it.
Yeah,
and
I
they're
mean,
like, you know what? Hey, man, here's $30.
I hope you're right. I hope it was just a misunderstanding, but like, people don't realize. Do you know how difficult it is to bag up and box up a $4,000 takeout
I'm
order?
sure.
Like, with all the little individual sizes, like at Outback, I worked in restaurants all through high school and college, but specifically when I was at Outback, we had a takeaway window, and the people working takeaway.
The one. Okay, that's the one. We'll use that example. I decided to get takeout for two, and we'll just say it generically, Spalding Steakhouse.
Yeah.
So I pull up to Spalding Steakhouse, and I'm just getting carry out for two.
Sure.
And I go up, and I'm like, yeah, I'm here to pick up an order for Query. And they go, oh, yep, here you go. And they hand them right there.
Yeah.
Am I expected to tip on that?
Yes. takeaway workers make what servers make.
Okay.
That's what it had with Outback. They made like $2 an hour.
That's fair.
So they were required to do that. But like again, like
Well, that's the
if you
short
don't
end of
want
the
to
stick,
tip, then how about this? Like next time you order steak at the takeout window, just pull your car up. I'll take the tongs and I'll toss the steak at you. Because if you're not going to tip me for boxing it up and bagging it up and whatever, here you go. Well, I'm getting my own food. Okay, here it is. It's a sore subject to me because I worked in restaurants, so I know how the sausage is made. But people think that
I get it.
you don't have to do this.
Here's the easy way to know how much to tip. The easy way to know how much to tip is simple. Okay, you take the first like 3 numbers of your bill, and you double it. If your bill's $20, you take the 2 zeros.
Just do I think the standard is 18-20% for table service.
20%. You take if your bill is $82.60, take $8.26, multiply it by 2, $16.52. There's your tip.
Take out depending on the deal. Like a pizza is easy to box up. I do 10%.
Okay, so
15% for Thai. Like 10 to 15% to me for takeout. 20% or more for table service.
Okay, that's fair.
And I think if that's a good standard.
If I
to
go
live
to
by,
pick
if
up a
you're confused.
pizza, I usually, and they hand me the slip, I'll put down a tip, yes.
Yeah.
Where was I recently, though? And it was like, would you like to tip? Oh.
They ask you everywhere now, I feel like.
The Downtown Chocolate Company. I went in, I had a sweet tooth.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? Can I just get like literally 2 malted milk balls and just a small handful of gummy bears? And my total was $2.30. And it's like, would you like to tip?
Yeah.
20%. Oh, yeah, here's 46 cents.
I went to Food Emporium and got a $1.50 cookie at the window for my son, and it had like a tip thing on there, and I was like,
yeah, I mean,
$1.50 cookie, and you just handed, I mean,
right.
I don't know what to put for that.
Right.
But yeah, I hear you. It's not always easy. Segment 3, SausageFest recap coming your way next.
They made sausage. Derek ate it, and then he took an aspirin.
Midtown's biggest party. It was amazing. Had a great weekend. Not just the 3 beers that I had on Saturday night, even though that was great too. So we'll come back with a full recap, more features to get to. Hoagies and Hops, who were part of SausageFest, one of the keg sponsors.
All right.
We'll have our hero on Hoagies.
Hey, I'm Jeff Saturday, and my favorite thing when I was a professional football player was Indiana. The Hoosier State always made me feel like family. That's why I trust Indiana's hometown mortgage lender, Bailey & Wood. This family-owned company not only gives back to the communities they serve, but also with their 5-star customer service, they can close on your dream home in days, not weeks. So remember, Indiana, you can always get your mortgages at a snap with Bailey & Wood.
Hey, Jeff, how does this look? Yay!
Not bad, bud, but let's stick to mortgages.
Welcome back to Query and Schultz, brought to you by our friends at Bailey & Wood Financial
You know
Group.
how I go into Amazon to let them know the new building code?
You can do that in your order form, like special instructions. It usually has a blank text box that you could put in.
What about after the fact, though?
Whatever
Like, I
you
still
want.
have one more thing coming.
You can still edit it. I think if you go to your username and there's like a preferences or something like that, where you could do special order instructions that are blanket for all. Yeah, like I want it dropped off at my side door. I want it dropped off on my front porch. We don't have anything like that. People just know to bring
Can
it
I
to
tell
the
you my
front porch.
$1 million idea that I'm sure someone else is going to come up with?
Sure, hurry up. But we have to kind of move on with the show here. We've got other sports things and things like that to get to. But yes, go ahead.
Well, since when are you, Mr.?
You're just kind of dragging the show along. It's been a little bit plotting today in episode 99, I feel like.
Well, I
because
think
of
that's
you,
your
not
opinion.
because of me.
I got your opinion.
We got sandwiches to get to.
Has anybody developed yet? I'm sure they have. And I'm patenting it right now in case anybody tries to do it. I will pull up this video to say that I had the idea first. Like a secure box that you buy for your porch for packages.
Yeah.
That's a lock box.
Yeah.
Have those been, like, can you get it installed at your house?
I don't know about that, but I've heard of something along those lines. Like it
seems like that would be a.
And it has like a combination on it or something, or a key.
Well, just like a dee-dee-dee-dee, and
yeah,
it opens up.
Whatever else, yeah. And you put it in there, and then you can put that in the special instructions for Amazon.
Because it seems like the.
You have really good neighbors, though. Like the people in your complex
Totally.
wouldn't take your box.
No,
yeah.
I'm not worried about that. I'm just. It did
Yeah.
make me think though, because I'm like, man, I mean.
Yeah.
You just drive up and down.
I mean,
like,
what are they even going to do with?
You hear about it all the time, though, right? Like people steal, porch pirates.
Yeah, for sure. But like, when they open it up and they see, like, I don't know what you would order on Amazon, like, Cialis or something, whatever it is that you get, what would they even do with that, I'm just trying to, you're 50, right? So, like, what do 50-year-old dudes order through the mail?
Nioxin hair shampoo.
Yeah. Okay. See, that's a good one.
Like,
that's what I'm thinking of.
You might want to start using that.
Why?
I'm getting a little thin.
It's fine. It's the lights that hit off of it is the problem. It's actually pretty full back here. It wasn't like that 2 years ago. Go back and watch Aquarian Schultz, like episode 4, and it was a big, like, cue ball spot right here. Not anymore. Not anymore.
All right. What do we have to get to here?
Sausage Fest recap. So in Midtown, St. Thomas Aquinas does the Sausage Fest every year. It's 2 nights.
St. Thomas Aquinas is where?
46 in Illinois.
Okay.
And I was a big part of it this year just because my son goes to SDA, and I'm not Catholic, but we love that community there. And I volunteered for setup and then for teardown, and then had a great – and then tore it down. Had a great time tearing it down Friday and Saturday night. Okay. But saw so many friends, fans.
Fans?
Just everywhere, yeah. People coming up to me.
Okay.
And saying they listened to
My
the show.
name come up a lot,
whatever.
did it?
Kent came up and said hi.
Kent?
Not Sterling, but just a listener named Kent. Viewer named Kent came by. Adam Offeld, remember who played at IU? Great dude. He lives over in the neighborhood, Meridian Kessler, but he's a Midtowner just like me. John Orovitz was there.
Really?
Just slamming sausages and beers. Yeah, he's a great dude. I love John. He is extremely snarky on Twitter, but he's actually like a teddy bear of a guy in real life.
So now Sausage Fest, because I'm not familiar. I've never been to it, believe it or not.
Wow.
I would assume
You're
just
usually
tents,
out of town for IndyCar, though.
Yeah. Tents set up with different
sausages,
different recipes that all include sausage.
Yeah, so not recipes. They're all literally sausage links, but they have like a hot Italian sausage. They have a regular sausage. They have a hot dog that they bring in from Wisconsin, some famous – I'm not a big hot dog guy, but a famous Wisconsin dog. And then Sun King, or they usually have a beer provider that's there. This year it was Sun King with everything on tap. And then they have games for the kids. They have bounce houses. They have live bands.
Did they
a lot
have
of fun.
They have a pig? Like a big stuffed pig walking around?
No, there
like
was
a mascot.
no stuffed pig walking
Like a mascot?
No.
Or
The mascot is a sausage.
They have a sausage walking around?
No.
Like they do?
No, I didn't do that. Yeah. That's a good idea for next year. I'm actually emceeing it next year. Why are you laughing?
A lot of people parked illegally?
No, like I'm the master of ceremonies. I'm not just going to give parking announcements.
Well,
like
last time you were given that responsibility, that's what you had to do.
Okay, it's going to be a little bit different than Big Ten Fan Fest. This is going to be a little more centered around me and my talents.
Okay. When you get up there, they're going to say, here's our MC, the Vienna sausage.
I was thinking about wearing this shirt, actually.
You do that.
Because it's just, this guy wants to have a good time. That's what this shirt looks like. So thanks, everybody. Brandon Thomas, who is really the sausage king this year. He's
sausage
the one that
king
helped
of
put
Chicago?
it on. Yeah, well, of Midtown.
Okay.
In this case, all the volunteers, all the great sponsors had a great time, and everybody that came up to say hi. It was really a lot of fun.
Now,
over
was
there
this
at Sausage
fabulous
Fest.
sandwich made for Sausage Fest?
No, but Hoagies and Hops, who's right there in the neighborhood, 42nd and Boulevard.
This is
they
which
sponsored
sandwich, Derek?
Sausage Fest. This is the Brotherly
wonderful.
Love, which in my power rankings
That is a sandwich
of
right
Hoagies
there.
and Hops sandwiches is right near the top. It's not quite Hog Island for me,
sandwich.
but this is really delicious. So we've got the D&W turkey, Black Forest ham, salami. This is like the Jake Query sandwich. I think this is probably your, outside of the cheesesteak, is your number one. Provolone, lettuce, tomato, onion, and oil.
It's fabulous.
Yeah.
Watch your language.
You can talk too if you want to.
Now, I'm waiting on you.
It's a two-person show. So
I'm the one that's bogging
hanging
things
out to dry
down,
here.
Derek.
For those, if you're listening to the podcast, Jake just totally hung me out to dry there. He was done with his bite. I was taking my initial bite.
Right.
And then he left me out to dry. Hero of the Week. I wrote this on Twitter, and I was surprised with how many people agreed with me because I thought this was just me being weird. And you could tell me if you agree. When an all-time great is at the end of his window, I end up weirdly rabidly rooting for that person.
Yeah, that's
Albert Pujols I have no emotional connection at all with Albert Pujols. Albert Pujols has not been, I don't like him, I don't dislike him, whatever. He's Albert Pujols. I can't remember a moment where I was sitting somewhere watching a great moment of. I know he's had a ton of great moments, but you know what I mean. Like, he's not real relevant to my sports viewing life. But I'm checking like the box score every single night now, seeing if he gets the 700.
I mean, it's an amazing tear he's on.
Only 3 people have ever done it. I mean, I'm not a big counting stats guy, but it's an incredible mark to reach.
I was in St. Louis, Derek, over the weekend, and Frank Cusimano, who's like the Rich Nye of St. Louis, I was asking him, I said, is there any chance that he's going to come back next year if he falls short of 700? And he said, Jake, I've asked him 10 times, and he insists this is it. But he also said, he goes, look, he's finishing the season at PNC Park in Pittsburgh, which is like a Little League park for him. Like, he just apparently that's like where he's just been on fire.
I hope it's not, though, like, I hope they don't just serve him up a gopher ball in game 162 when he's on 699.
Right.
As much as I would like to see him get to 700, like, I don't want it to be the Strahan sack record.
Right.
You know? Like, Michael Strahan was a great player, but you still remember that was kind of
a fluke,
garbage. Yeah, the way that it kind of ended there. But 692 now for Pujols after 2 bombs on over the weekend, and also how about this for
how many games left?
30 something.
He's gonna get it, right?
It's hard to hit 8 home runs in 30 games. I mean, he's
hit 3 in the last week, Derek.
Yeah, but he's got 15, I think, overall for the season or something like that. So, he passed Stan Musial for second all time in total bases.
And he's like 4 miles behind Ricky Henderson, or excuse me, Hank Aaron.
I just think that it's impossible for us in 2022 to fully appreciate in the moment great players that are like, I mean, Albert Pujols is an inner circle Hall of Fame,
right?
Like a top 15 level player all time in baseball. I mean, we're talking like 150 years of baseball. He is one of like probably the 15-ish greatest player. I'm not going to do it all out on the show right now.
That's fair.
One of the 15 greatest players ever.
I mean, would you list him, though? Is he a great defender?
I mean,
he's one of the great hitters of all time.
Not everybody else is going to check all of the. Not everybody's going to be Bonds.
But Derek, what's interesting is the players that you're talking about. Where, I'm not taking anything away from Albert Pujols, but what's interesting is if you look at the players in the stratosphere of like the home runs you're talking about, all of them were better defenders. I mean, Babe Ruth was at one time one of the best pitchers in baseball. Willie Mays was a 5-tool player. Barry Bonds was an elite-level arm.
I mean, I don't know.
And base runner.
Was Hank Aaron like an amazing defensive
player? That's fair, but Hank Aaron was he
might have been.
Hank Aaron was a better overall hitter, obviously.
Was Ted Williams a great defensive player? Honestly, I don't know.
I don't know about Williams, nor do I know about Musial, to be fair.
I mean, I'm not going to go back and look up like Gold Gloves and stuff because Gold Gloves are kind of almost like this ceremonial award.
Right.
You know, Jeter has a bunch of those, and he wasn't always the best defender out there, or a very overrated defender, I guess. But still, Jake, when you're top 10 all-time in hits, you're top 5 all-time in homers, you've won 3 MVPs, you've won a couple of championships, what else is there for him to do? I mean, that automatically, all those things, even if you don't get to 700, that puts you in the inner circle of Hall of Famers with the stuff that he does.
Great player, no doubt.
Second
and
all
it's
time
amazing what
basis.
He's doing.
It's incredible. The Hoagie eating contest, Hoagies and Hops, right around the corner. Now. It is Saturday, September 10th, 2:30 p.m. You eat a Hog Island, just $25 to sign up. The winner gets a free 18-inch hoagie every month for a year, and it benefits the HVAF, which is the Homeless Veterans and Families of Indiana. Christina always looking to hop on to causes like that in the neighborhood, not only active with STA and the church fundraisers, but also with, Gleaners Food Bank, HVAF, a lot of these Hoagies and Hops are involved with.
That is a good sandwich.
MLK Center down at 40th in Illinois is a great one as well. Just email Christina with a K at hoagiesandhops.com or register in person, 42nd and Boulevard for Hoagies and Hops.
Quick hits next.
Oh, yeah. Let's do it.
Don't eat with your mouth, or don't talk with your mouth full, Derek.
We'll be right back.
College wasn't built for me.
I didn't care if I had to work a double shift.
Or if my kid had a fever.
Deadline's a deadline.
I want to set the deadlines.
I want to take tests when I'm ready.
I want to take courses on my time.
And speed up when I know my stuff.
I want a university that cares about me.
Tests on your time, courses on your time, graduate on your time. WGU, the nonprofit university of you.
Hey, I'm Jeff Saturday, and my favorite thing when I was a professional football player was Indiana. The Hoosier State always made me feel like family. That's why I trust Indiana's hometown mortgage lender, Bailey & Wood. This family-owned company not only gives back to the communities they serve, but also with their 5-star customer service, they can close on your dream home in days, not weeks. So remember, Indiana, you can always get your mortgages at a snap with Bailey & Wood.
Hey, Jeff, how does this look? Yay!
Not bad, bud, but let's stick to mortgages.
Welcome back to episode 99 of Query and Schultz. We will, just in a few minutes from now, do our Love That Play, brought to you by the good guys at Love Heating and Air Conditioning, love-hvac.com. 317-353-2141 is the telephone number for Love Heating and Air. Been around since 02? Is that right? 1920?
Yeah, because they just had the 100
102 years, that's right. Anyway, the reason that you last that long, you're talking multi-family generation deep of a family-owned business with Love Heating and Air, and you last that long through a couple of different things, I should say. Great product, knowledge of that product, but mostly caring about the people that have that product, and that's what you get with Love Heating and Air. I've known them my whole life. I would not steer you in the wrong direction. 24-hour on-call maintenance and dedication to making sure that you are cool in the summer and warm in the winter. Love-hvac.com for Love Heating and Air. But before we do that, Derek, it is time now for our quick hits, right?
I hate to start this on a tragic note, but many have seen probably over the weekend just horrific, a car accident involving several Indiana State football players, a couple of fatalities as well. They believe that of the 5 occupants, I think there have already been 2 confirmed fatalities. I'm not going to get into the names. And
there have been
like
3 fatalities.
3, okay. I don't want to get into the names and all that because I don't know if I feel like that's necessarily appropriate. If you want to seek that out, you can go ahead and seek that out. But thinking about the ISU family, I saw that Greg Lansing, who I know is no longer part of the university, his father passed away over the weekend too. So, you had a couple of things happen. He was very active with Indiana State Athletics for the many years that Greg was heading the men's basketball team. So you feel for that university. I mean, we know Sherrod Clinksales and a lot of the people over there at ISU, and our thoughts with them during this difficult time.
Derek, at the time that we are recording this, what we know is that there were 5 passengers in the car in a single car accident, in which 3 of the 5 at the time that we're recording this have been reported as fatally injured. That includes 2 football players, one from Ohio, one from the Fort Wayne area, and another student who was not a football player who was from Illinois, and then 2 other passengers reportedly affiliated with the football program. When young people, obviously it's terrible anytime someone loses their life, additionally when it's a young person. But the one thing I will say, and I don't say this as hyperbole, there is obviously no silver lining in any of this. But I do think that Kurt Mallory, beyond being a football coach, is the kind of guy, and maybe I'm basing this a little bit off of Bill Mallory, his father, but I do trust that the right person is there to lead that program to help the young people through a very difficult challenge.
I mean, we've met Kurt, not that we know him really well, but he does seem like that kind of guy that can navigate a tragedy like this for sure. So thoughts with everyone there at ISU. Quick at number 2, Udonis Haslem coming back for season 20.
That's impressive.
42 years old. He'll be one of only 3 NBA players to spend 20 years with one franchise. You want to guess the other 2?
Okay, say that again.
3 NBA players, Haslem III, who have spent 20 years with one franchise.
Now, let me ask you this. Does that mean, has he spent only, has he been only with the Heat?
He's only been with the Miami Heat.
20. Are either of them in my lifetime?
Both of them. Both of them are in my lifetime.
Man,
I think one's easier than the other. I think one you don't think of, even though you're like, oh yeah, of course. But Kobe is one.
I see. I wouldn't have guessed that he played that long.
He played 21 years. I think Kobe did.
Really?
Yeah, 96 to 2017, or maybe it was 2018. Maybe he played 22 years.
I guess you're right. Yeah.
And Dirk.
Okay.
You never think of Dirk. I mean, he's a great player.
You know what's interesting?
You don't think of him.
Neither one of them drafted by those teams.
Yeah, that's right. Dirk drafted by?
Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah, who's he traded for?
Tractor trailer.
The late, I believe, tractor trailer.
Correct.
I think he passed. If
Kobe.
I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Drafted by?
Charlotte.
Traded for?
Vlade Divac.
Vlade Divac is correct, yes.
Remember the Great Western Forum? I think they said the PA guy used to say it like that. Vlade Divac. But, Haslam is like a celebratory roster spot. Like, he doesn't play. He has played a total of 58 games in the last 6 seasons combined.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he has scored a total of 112
Must
points.
be a really good locker room guy, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. But it's the 11th contract that he signed with the Miami Heat. That's pretty incredible. Quick hit number 3, a loose Wallaby eludes capture in Ohio. This always happens in Ohio, I feel like, with
That's
animals
where
on the
monkey
land.
and the wolf got loose, right?
Yeah. Police in Ohio said a Wallaby on the loose for more than a week hasn't been spotted in several days, and now they are concerned that he has left the borders of the state. Brewster Police Chief Nathan Taylor said in a news release on Thursday, they're doing news releases now about this, that the Wallaby, which was caught on camera in the area late last week, hasn't been seen since Sunday. He was briefly cornered by police in a wooded area late last week, but the animal escaped when officers determined they didn't know how to safely capture it.
The wallabies are like kangaroos, right?
They are, but more aggressive. Wallabies are very aggressive. Experts from Noah's Lost Ark Exotic Animal Sanctuary in Mahogany County are now assisting with the search and capture efforts.
Where did he escape from?
Oh, I don't know. Australia? Made it to Ohio somehow?
Where did he
hopped on a plane?
Hitched a cruise?
Yeah, Aussie Airlines. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Maybe on a boat, but then how would you get to Ohio?
Somebody put you in their pocket?
You get on the lake somehow? Get on a boat from Australia, Indian Ocean. I'm trying to map the course. That'd be a long
Pacific.
trip.
You'd have to go to the Pacific.
Yeah.
Then around, and then you'd have to come up the wrong way up the Mississippi.
Up the Nile.
No.
And then
that's Africa.
You hook a left through like Bangladesh.
No, it's flooded.
Down through Sweden. What's that called? Arctic Sea? And then over that way. English Channel. And then into port like New York City. And then you just hop for like 800 miles and then you're in Ohio. That's probably the path that the Wallaby took. I really struggled with geography.
Clearly.
In school. So sorry if that was a struggle there. Never a struggle for our Love That Play. It's brought to you by our friends, as Jake said, Love HVAC, Love Heating and Cooling, love-hvac.com, 353-2141. I actually liked your Love That Play idea because I didn't think of this. They're actually playing today. We're taping this on Monday, but Hagerstown with another walk-off win.
How about him, man?
Even though it wasn't as great as a walk-off hit, but you still take it.
But still.
A W over Iowa for
had to get a hit in order to get the errant throw at first base that allows the run to score, and Hagerstown advances. They now take on the kids from Tennessee, and my understanding is the kids from Tennessee, 3 of them, 15 years old.
Yeah. Allen is torn, our buddy Allen Hughes, who's running the 1s and 2s for us because he's in Indiana, but his heart is in Tennessee, so we don't know who he's exactly rooting for. But I love the kid scoring the winning run, flipping the helmet off and kind of giving the angry yes face or come on or whatever he was saying.
Boy, his eyes.
Congrats to Hagerstown. Yeah. I actually picked Newgarden, another win. He's 3 within the championship, 2 races to go. Essentially a 4-horse race here. Power, Newgarden, Dixon, Erickson separated by just 17 points with 2 left.
It's going to be a good run to the finish here in terms of the championship. But Power and Newgarden are 2 guys that if you're expecting them to blank, think about Dixon. If Dixon had won the Indy 500, a double points race, the reason Erickson is still there is because
of what he did in May.
Right, the double points. If Dixon does not get that penalty and wins Indy, forget
He's
about
running
it,
away
right?
with it right now, yeah. But that's life. That's the 500.
You're right.
We want it to dictate the championship, right?
You're right.
And here it is. And Erickson got the job done, so he deserves it.
Favorite time of the show's next because we're going to be able to see the eyes of Sage. Our Sage move of the week is next.
Not my favorite. I mean, WGU Indiana is my favorite, but not Sage. We'll come back with it and wrap up episode 99 here on ISC Sports Network.
Hey, Hey, I'm Jeff Saturday, and my favorite thing when I was a professional football player was Indiana. The Hoosier State always made me feel like family. That's why I trust Indiana's hometown mortgage lender, Bailey & Wood. This family-owned company not only gives back to the communities they serve, but also with their 5-star customer service, they can close on your dream home in days, not weeks. So remember, Indiana, you can always get your mortgages at a snap with Bailey & Wood.
Hey, Jeff, how does this look? Yay!
Not bad, bud, but let's stick to mortgages.
Back for a final time. Corey and Schultz, presented by Bailey & Wood Financial Group. Thanks so much for joining us, whether you're watching on ISC.
That sandwich is
maybe
outstanding,
you're watching on
by the way.
YouTube, our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Corey and Schultz. Maybe you're on Twitch or in podcast form on all major platforms. Thanks so much for making us part of your day/week. To wrap up, you see the eyes behind me.
Beautiful.
I can see out of the periphery into the monitor. I'm not going to stare directly.
If you were an
Sage's
owl,
eyes.
you wouldn't need periphery. You would just spin your head.
But the great thing about our friends at WGU Indiana is you earn your degree on your own time.
Yep.
WGU.edu/Indiana for our friends at WGU Indiana. They bring you our Sage Move of the Week. Many programs where you can earn a degree with WGU Indiana, and especially in this day and age where, you know, you're running around all the time. You've got job, life, kids, everything happening at once. WGU Indiana is a great option for you to do all of your schoolwork on your own time. You're going through school right now, so you know a little bit about how hard that is, but you're 50, unmarried, no kids, so really you're not on a time crunch at all. And you can kind of
I still got to try to take algebra.
Kind of do whatever you want, I guess. Cause
Are you good at algebra?
No. I never got higher than a C in high school math.
I'm hoping for a C in algebra. That's all I need.
I only got a C because I stayed after every day. Mr. Klein's trig class, intro to trig, I got a C.
Just to get rid of you, right?
Yeah, geometry, I got a D.
I'm taking Introduction to Algebra.
Mm-hmm.
And Derek, I hadn't had an introduction to algebra in 30 years.
I know. You know what the most worthless thing is? And I think this is trig. Did you ever do sine, cosine, all that stuff in math? You know what I'm talking about?
I had to have somebody co-sign for me.
No, it's not like a loan. Okay. Sine, cosine, and I remember even 25 years ago saying to my teacher, when would this be relevant? And there must be something that, like, in engineering that you need to know that stuff, but it's ridiculous that we waste time. Like, why? Taking care of yourself, like cooking classes, Spanish. Like, there are classes that I think would be generally helpful for you, and I don't know why we waste our time on some of these other ones in high school. Algebra.
They should teach a financial literacy class in high school.
Well, that too. Yeah, we actually had one of those.
WGU Indiana, by the way, is the largest online accredited university in the state of Indiana, offering a multitude of degrees where you can work on your schedule. And as Derek had mentioned, ambition never rests. So if you want to work online to finish your degree or to perhaps set up for the first time to obtain one, wgu.edu/Indiana. Derek, our Sage Move of the Week.
Ending the show with this one. This is a great story. You've ever heard the name Nate Fisher before?
Nate Fisher?
Yeah.
No, my buddy Mike Byron fishes.
Yeah, I've never heard the name Nate Fisher until like 2 hours ago. He's a Mets reliever. Last year, he was working for a bank in Omaha, Nebraska. Yesterday, the 26-year-old made his Major League debut, yesterday being Sunday, pitched 3 shutout innings in a Mets win over the Phillies. So undrafted out of Nebraska, reached A-ball with the Mariners in 2019. In 2020, was out of baseball because of COVID and all of that. Came back, made his Major League debut as a 26-year-old. Cool. So he's, filing, speaking of signing and co-signing, filing out loan applications and things like that, and then suddenly he's pitching 3 shutout innings in a Major League game in a pennant race.
From working a bank to making it.
Yeah. Right. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, these guys that make their Major League debuts at like 29, and then they launch a homer in their first
I saw a guy that
had
played 10 years in the minors, and they showed a video of him FaceTiming his mom to say
I saw that one too. Yeah, really cool. He was 29, I think, right? Or maybe even older than that. Yeah. But made his for the Rockies.
I think that's right.
Made his Major League debut. So really, really cool stuff there. Congratulations. And what a fun team. I mean, as much as I don't particularly like the Mets, that'd be a fun this would be a fun season to root for them.
Mets.
I know.
Meet the Mets.
Step right up and greet the Mets. Bring the kiddies, bring the wife. Guaranteed to have the time of your life because the Mets something. I don't know the rest of it.
All right, well.
Spent a lot of time at Shea. One of the worst
kind of camaraderie we've got here.
The worst, like, it had no character at all. Just an awful stadium. All the seats were bright orange.
Beautiful.
Horrible. I
Great
hated
stadium.
Shea. Those circular, the worst of the circular all-purpose stadiums. Shea Stadium. Right next to LaGuardia. The planes flew overhead. It was loud. It was terrible.
You know that we're way over now.
Thanks to Alan Hughes. Thanks to Greg Rakestraw. Thanks to all of our great sponsors. Chateau Kitchens, Hoagies and Hobbs, Bailey and Wood Financial Group, Blue Malnati's, Love Heating and Cooling.
Chateau
For Jake
Kitchens.
Query, I'm Derek Schultz. Episode 100 next week.
WGU Indiana.
We'll see you then. Bye. There's my alarm.